What's good? What's good? What's good, beautiful people? This is your boy Tone DeShields II from Chalk It Up Sports, where no matter if we win or if we lose, we just got to charge it to the game. Welcome to another episode of Chalk It Up Sports Daily. Man, happy Monday to you guys. Hope y'all had an amazing weekend. Hope y'all stayed out of trouble. Some of you guys are, finishing up your stuff. And if you're in high school, if you guys are in college, you guys should already be home. Shout out to the graduates. I know a lot of you guys graduated in May. You know what I'm saying? Shout out to all the hardworking people getting to the grind on a Monday afternoon. Wow. Now, I know the show normally starts at 1 p.m., but I had to start the show about a half an hour earlier because of the simple fact that I have a dentist appointment today, and I got to make sure I keep the pearly whites nice and serene. You dig what I'm saying? But yes, the show started a half an hour early today. I know you guys. I'm throwing y'all off balance. I get it, but just look at it this way: y'all getting y'all daily dose of chocolate with sports earlier rather than later, and I'm gonna still be here for an hour. You feel what I'm saying? So we're gonna rock out for as long as we can, and I got some things that I want to talk to you guys about because you know things are starting to heat up with the Philadelphia Eagles. OTAs is in full effect. You know, the media was able to get in and see some of the players, do their thing on the 7-on-7s, and we're gonna talk about some of that stuff too. You know what I mean? Press conferences was in full effect as well. You heard from guys like Jordan Davis. You heard from Brandon Graham. You heard from who else? Jalen Hurts, AJ Brown, guys like that. You heard from a lot of guys that you wanted to hear from, and we even heard from special teams coordinator, my man Michael Clay, and then we heard from Shane Steichen, the offensive coordinator. Now that leads me into my first topic of the day because Shane Steichen, he's been the offensive coordinator. He came in with Nick Sirianni, and he had a lot of high praise from Nick Sirianni when he got hired, and so on and so forth. But last season was interesting for the Philadelphia Eagles because early on things were tumultuous to say the least. We let continuity. It seemed like we really didn't have an identity on offense, and then something shifted. Something changed. We started to run the ball more. We started to take pressure off of Jalen Hurts. Less pressure on Hurts, more pressure on the offensive line. We started to ride our offensive line to the finish line, and unfortunately, our season ended in the wild card round against the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. But we can't ignore how drastic the team shifted. We can't ignore how good they looked, all things considered. Now, of course, we expect bigger things this year. We expect growth. We expect more continuity on offense. We expect Jalen Hurts to improve. But from a play calling perspective, I really liked what I saw because this team struggled and they completely made an executive decision to change what they were doing. And that's not easy to do. They ran the risk of losing their locker room that entire season, and it's not easy to do. It's not easy to just be able to change your philosophy mid-season. It's not easy. Yet the Philadelphia Eagles did it. I give credit to Nick Sirianni. I give credit to Shane Steichen. I give credit to the whole coaching staff at the end of the day, but I definitely give credit to those offensive guys, those offensive minds. And that wasn't completely by happenstance or coincidence. Shane Steichen took over the play calling duties midway through last season. And you could pretty much align it or coincide with when we started to run the ball. Now, there were moments where we tried to deviate and go back to passing the ball early on in games, but clearly that wasn't really moving it for us. And that was because Jalen Hurts had some lackluster moments, but he had some high moments that give you something to be positive about. But overall, the play calling changed. And it really helped this team really lean on their strengths. And it didn't really expose too many of our weaknesses. That leads me into my first topic of the day. Shane Steichen, it was revealed that Shane Steichen will be the primary play caller during the 2022 season. Do you love it or do you hate it? Remember, Shane Steichen was the primary play caller last year when we transition to more of a run-heavy style. Now, that's not saying that Shane Steichen is a run-heavy style coach, but he's going to provide a more balanced approach to the play calling. Whereas on Nick Sirianni, he had a very pass-heavy approach. I'm not saying either one is better or worse or right or wrong, but I'm always leaning more towards a balanced approach to the offensive game rather than a one-sided approach. When you're one-dimensional, it makes it that much more. It makes it that much easier to figure out what you're trying to do. When you're multi-dimensional, when you're versatile, when you have different layers to your game, when you have different nuances to the way you call games, it forces teams to really have to account for all bases. It forces them to really have to account for all sides of your roster, all sides of your play calling and your scheme. And, these guys are forced to really have to lock in. So Shane Steichen being the primary play caller during 2022 makes things very interesting. Now, here's the nuance of that. The way things flowed last year was this. Nick Sirianni would call out the formation that he wanted to see, or the scheme or whatever may have you. Then he would then relay that to Shane Steichen last year, and then Shane Steichen would then relay the play to Jalen Hurts. Now, Nick Sirianni is being eliminated in that equation. Basically, these guys were playing whisper down the lane with the play calls last season, early on. And that kind of convoluted things a little bit. It made it a little bit more complex when it really didn't need to. Now, I'm not saying Nick Sirianni is going to be completely absolved from offensive duties, or he's just going to completely let Shane Steichen do whatever he wants. No, they're going to game plan. Shane Steichen is going to call plays from a bevy of plays that they've discussed, and there's going to be those moments where Nick says, "Hey, like, let's try to do this. I'm looking for something like this. This is what I need." And Shane Steichen is going to call plays based on what Nick Sirianni wants. But overall, Shane Steichen will be the primary play caller. He's going to be the one communicating with Jalen Hurts in his ear. Whereas last year, things got convoluted with Nick Sirianni translating to Shane Steichen, and Shane Steichen translating what Nick Sirianni said to Jalen Hurts. It gets messy that way. And when you have that many people, that many hands in the pot, it makes it complicated. So I actually applaud Nick Sirianni for actually willing to take a step back so his team could take 2 steps, 3 steps forward. You dig what I'm saying? That's not easy to do as the head coach when you're the one who was brought in to be the main guy. You were brought in to turn this team around. And sometimes it's hard for guys to put their egos to the side. But I'm curious what you guys think about it. Let's see. Let's get some shout-outs out the way. What's up, Lucas Hallman? How you feeling, my man? Good to see you. My man, Cal Bundy. Backyard Birds podcast was good. Now, remember, I asked, how you guys feel about Shane Steichen being a play caller? Do you love it or hate it? Backyard Birds podcast says, I'm good with it, so Sirianni can manage the game. I agree with you on that. You see, when you think about it from that perspective, Nick Sirianni, he was a first-year head coach, and I think he bit off a little more than he could chew. Not saying that he couldn't handle it, but what I'm saying is when you're the head coach, you're responsible for all moving parts. And when it's your first go-around, it's a little unnerving. And you don't really know how to approach it at the end of the day. It's a learning curve. But that's when you have to trust the team you've built. You have to trust the coaching staff you've built. And I like what Nick Sirianni is doing. I want my head coach to dictate how the game's going. I want my head coach to really oversee the game. Timeouts and understanding time of possession. And, I want my head coach just, really locked in on the motion, the momentum of the game. But when you have to focus on play calling as well, you're always operating on a play-by-play basis. You're not really seeing the game for the full scope that it is. And there are some head coaches who do play calling, and that's fine. I'm not saying there's a better way to do it, but you have to find the best thing that works for you. That's what you have to do, and I think I'm fine with it. I want to see what Shane Steichen has. That's what I want to see. What's going on, Nina Austin? How you feeling? Hope you enjoyed your weekend as well. Oh, Nina, you ain't got a wrench? What is wrong with me? I'm so sorry. My apologies, sweetheart. Let me get that wrench for you right now. Let me get Nina her wrench, y'all. Let me get Nina her wrench before I do anything else. Hold on. All right, Nina, you good to go. You got your wrench now. You are now a moderator on the channel. So if anybody acting brazy in that channel, you can check them. You got your wrench now, baby. What's going on, BG? How you feeling, my guy? Hope all's well with you and the family. Eagles realist, what's up, my man? He says he doesn't know how to feel, to be honest. Well, what about it is unnerving to you? You know, I just want to understand your thought process. What about it is a bit complicated for you to really grasp, right? Because, again, ultimately it's a wait and see, but we have a very small sample size when it comes to this coaching staff. The coaching staff has only been around for a year and some change. But from what we've been able to see, the offense flowed a little better when Shane Steichen was calling the plays versus Nick Sirianni. Is that fair to say right now? Now, look, this is not to say Nick Sirianni won't develop into the play caller, because he was calling the plays in Indianapolis with Frank Reich. He was calling the plays then. But he's a head coach now. And it's important for a leader to be able to delegate responsibilities. It's important for a leader to put people in position so you can trust the responsibilities being delegated. Shane Steichen clearly has the pulse of Jalen Hurts, and I believe Nick Sirianni does as well. But I think it can't be understated how well the team flowed, how good the team looked with Shane Steichen calling the plays versus Nick Sirianni calling the plays. Eagles Realist says, I just want consistency. Now, here's the thing about that. They kind of are being consistent. Shane Steichen took over play calling mid-season. So he's been calling the plays since about week 7, week 8, right? And he's going to continue calling the plays going into this season. So I think that is consistency. Backyard Birds podcast says, delegating responsibilities is the job. And by doing this, he can get the most out of all his coaches. Absolutely. As a head coach, you're only as good as your staff. You're only as good as your OC. You're only as good as your DC. You're only as good as your special teams coordinator, your running back coach, and your offensive line coach, your linebackers coach, your DB coach. You're only as good as the people you put around you. No one does it alone. And there are narratives in sports that like to pretend guys do it alone. There are narratives in sports that like to pretend, oh, this quarterback versus this quarterback. No, it's this quarterback versus this team's defense, and it's this quarterback, the other quarterback versus your team's defense. There's it always kills me when we get so caught up in the QB1 versus QB1 debates. Sure, you can compare stats, but they're not playing each other. They're playing the other team's defense. You dig what I'm saying? It's not Jalen Hurts versus Dak Prescott, right? It's Jalen Hurts versus the Cowboys defense, and it's Dak Prescott versus the Eagles defense. Who can have the better day against the opposing team's defense, right? And it's a team effort. Same thing with coaching. The OC has to find a way to take advantage of the opposition's DC, and vice versa. It's a team effort, and it's important for a leader to understand his limitations. It's important for a leader to understand the pieces he put around him. This is a chess match, you guys, and no king does it alone. You need your pawns. You need your knights. You need your bishops. You need your queen. You need all hands on deck to get the job done. Checkmate. You dig what I'm saying? Ryan Rowe, what's going on, my man? My man Rock. Hope all is well with you guys. My man Jorge Mendoza, welcome back to the show, my guy. Hope all is well with you and the family, man. Truly. But yeah, Me personally, I don't have a problem with it. I'm actually excited about it because that means Shane Steichen, just like him, he's focused solely on trying to maximize Jalen Hurts. I like that. He's focused solely on trying to squeeze out every bit of talent, every bit of production out of this offense. And I'm okay with that. You know, I like someone who had I like it when I have someone on my team, on my roster or whatever, that you got one job. This is what I want you to focus on. I want you to maximize this. But when you start to give guys too many tasks, you start to wear them thin. I'm really curious to see where this team goes because now, you know what it looks like to me? It seems like to me, we're trying to create a well-oiled machine. You dig what I'm saying? We're trying to create a well-oiled machine. Everyone is a cog in this machine. There's no single part that's responsible for every job in the framework of the machine. You got your cogs, you got your circuit breakers or whatever, you got your motherboards, you got all kinds of stuff in the machine. And it seems like to me the Philadelphia Eagles are trying to build a well-oiled coaching staff, a well-oiled machine, a well-oiled hierarchy. And I'm okay with that. I'm perfectly okay with that. I like it. I'm with it. I'm totally with Shane Steichen calling the plays. And on top of that, Nick Sirianni and Shane Steichen go way back to their Chargers days. So he already has that trust in Shane to be able to get the job done. He has trust in Shane to have his back at all times. Like I said, Nick Sirianni is still going to be heavily involved in the game plan. But remember those times where we used to question if Nick Sirianni paid attention to what Jonathan Gannon was doing? I felt there was a moment where Nick Sirianni was so focused on offense, he allowed Jonathan Gannon to just do his thing. Now that Shane Steichen is calling the plays, that's one thing off of Nick Sirianni's plate, meaning that he can dedicate more attention to both sides of the ball. You know, being keyed in on Jonathan Gannon, being keyed in on Shane Steichen, being keyed in on Michael Klett. Now he can oversee his staff properly. He can be that communicator with his players instead of having to worry about the next play needs to get called. He's not being weared too thin. This is going to be great, you guys. He can actually coach now and allow his coordinators to coordinate. This is good. I think we should be excited about this. I think this is going to be really cool to see. Jorge Mendoza has a question for me. All right, let's see. Man, shout out to Muscle Milk, man. Perfect for like recovering after a workout. Flavors are pretty good too. I like the chocolate. It's pretty decent. I like it. 25 grams of protein. Really great stuff. No sugar. Non-dairy in case you're lactose intolerant. Shout out to Muscle Milk, man. Let's get that money. Anyway, Jorge Mendoza. He says, question for Tone and the chat. How do we feel about the running back room and the situation? Are we happy with the running back by committee? Should we run Miles to the ground this year like Cowboys did DeMarco Murray? That's interesting. Me personally, I've always preferred the running back by committee situation because of two reasons. A, the money side of it. You don't want a bell cow running back. You don't want your running back being the heartbeat of your offense because your heart is one of the most vital organs in your body outside of the brain. When your running back is the heart of your offense, you have to dedicate so many assets, dedicate so many resources to keep it pumping, to keep it in good stand, and keep it happy. I don't want to dedicate too much money to the running back position because of one guy. I don't want to do that. I would much rather have three smaller contracts amongst the running back room than having one huge contract. You dig what I'm saying? I don't want my offense constructed that way, where I'm relying on a running back to be our end-all be-all. That's not how I want it to be. You know, I like the running back by committee. I like having the Miles Sanders, Boston Scott, Jordan Howard, and or Kenny Gainwell combo. Now, I know Jordan Howard is not on his roster right now, but who's to know what may happen, right? But overall, I'm a running back by committee guy because you have running backs that thrive in various situations. You may have guys who are great at getting that short yardage for you. Don't expect them to run 40, 50 yards and to the house for a touchdown, but they can break those 5, 10, 15, maybe 20-yard runs. Those guys that can get you those short yardage on the goal line, so on and so forth. Then you may have your running back who's great in who's great at passing, who's great at catching the ball, like a Kenny Gainwell, who can run damn near every route like a wide receiver, has great hands, as good as a B minus type C plus wide receiver. He has good hands, and he's speedy enough, he's elusive enough. You know what I mean? Then you may have that running back who is your burner, the guy that can break a 60, 70-yard run, but he may not be that good in short yardage situations because he doesn't really do a good job at picking the right hole. So you can have different running backs that execute different facets of your offense. Now, here's the thing about that. It makes it a little bit easier for teams to key in on what you're trying to do. Because if you have a running back that specializes in short yardage situations and you're on the 1-yard line and you put him in the game, the opposition knows, okay, they have a tendency to put this guy in short yardage situations. Let's load the box. But then at that point, now you're saying it's my guys versus your guys. So when you have a running back by committee, when you have running backs that do various things well and you put them in those situations to succeed, you kind of tip your hand to the opposition, and it kind of exposes your tendencies. So I think what's important is to have 2 or 3 running backs that do at least 2 to 3 of the things you need them to do well, right? You can have a power back, but he's also good in the passing game. He has good hands, and he can get you 5 to 10 yards. A chain mover. That's a 2-for-1. You can have a running back who is elusive and has that power, but he's not really that good in the passing game. That's a 2-for-1. You can have it's all about mix and match, and it's all about combos. It's all about being able to throw off your opponent without showing your hand, without tipping your tendencies off. So there's a gift and a curse with having a running back by committee, but there's also a gift and a curse by having a bell cow 3-down running back. So it's all about how you want to build your offense, how you want to construct your offense, and also it's about how much money you want to dedicate to the running back position in general. So it's really an interesting conversation to have, but when it comes to our running back room specifically, I really prefer the running back by committee. The Eagles have been that historically, right? There was the moments where we had the Brian Westbrook, Corell Bunkhalter combo. You know what I'm saying? We had, I think out of all the running backs we've had in the past 22 years, LaShawn McCoy might have been the main. LaShawn McCoy might have been the only running back we've had that was legit the 3-down running back. We had him in on every situation because he was that talented. LaShawn McCoy is the best running back we've had in the past 22 years. You can make an argument that LaShawn McCoy is the best running back in Eagles history. You can make an argument for that. LaShawn McCoy arguably is a Hall of Famer, arguably. But that's a whole other conversation. Yang Gang says Sanders is not a bell cow, never will be. I agree with you. I don't think Miles Sanders is best utilized as a 3-down running back. I'm not saying you can't have him in on 3rd down. I'm not saying you can't have. What I'm saying is, if in a 3-down stretch, I only want him on 2 of those downs. You can mix and match it how you want, but I don't want Miles Sanders running the ball 6, 7, 8, 9 times in a row. I don't want that. He hasn't shown that he can stand that kind of beating. 2 seasons in a row, he's only played 12 games. Now, Miles Sanders is very talented. If you really look at the numbers and project them over a 16, 17-game season, if Miles Sanders would have played all 16 games in 2020, he would have had well over 1,200 yards rushing. If he would have played all games in 2021, he would have had well over 1,100 yards rushing. You see, Miles Sanders is extremely talented, but his health has limited the conversations we're allowed to put him in. Wouldn't you guys agree? Miles Sanders is extremely talented, but he has to stay healthy. But like you said, Yang Gang, I personally don't want Miles Sanders being a bell cow. I wouldn't mind having a 2 running back system, a 1-2 punch. I'm cool with that. I'm cool with having a 1-2 punch. I'm also cool with having a jab, a hook, and an uppercut. You dig what I'm saying? I'm good with having a jab, haymaker. I'm good with having that. And that's a 3-down running back system. But I'm not opposed to having a jab hook or a jab uppercut. I'm not opposed to having a 1-2 punch combo. I'm not opposed to that at all. You know, I think that's actually better, having a 1-2 punch and then occasionally throwing that third guy when you're doing various situations, various plays. Yang Gang says Sanders doesn't catch or block well enough to be on the field for 3 downs. That's a very good point, Yang Gang. Miles Sanders is not really a good blocker, and he regressed as a pass catcher. His rookie season, he was an amazing pass catcher. He had over 500 yards receiving. He was great. I think he had like 5 or 4 receiving touchdowns, something like that. He was great in the passing game his rookie year. And then he's regressed steadily each and every year. And he has taken less. He hasn't been as diligent in his development as a pass catcher. It's obvious. It's obvious. But I personally wouldn't want Miles Sanders on all 3 downs. I just wouldn't. Also, we got 17 people in the live chat, you guys. Make sure you smash that like button. The like button being hit helps the content grow, helps more people find the content, helps Chalk It Up Sports grow as well, helps the live chat get that much more spicy. Make sure you guys smash that like button on the way in, and also make sure you guys hit it on the way out. You know, make sure you guys share and subscribe as well if you're new to the content. I'm always grateful for the love, and I'm definitely always grateful for the support. Excuse me. Bergen 31 says, but we need to find out if we should pay him or not. So push Sanders to the limit, I say. But at the end of the day, paying him how much though? Look, I put it like this. The Eagles already have a limit on how much they're willing to pay him. I'll tell you that right now. Regardless of what he does, the Eagles already know what they're willing to pay the running back position. So if he can maximize what we need him to do in our offseason, see, this is the thing. It's all about what we need him to do, not what he want to do. It's about what we need him to do. If we need Miles Sanders to be that 1-2 punch, we're going to pay you like a 1-2 punch. And if he's willing to accept that, hey, sign a dotted line. But if he's not willing to accept that and he wants to be a 3-down running back, okay, go get your money, young man. We're not going to stop you. We're going to get the most out of you for right now. But if you don't like what we're offering you because of the way we want to use you, then, hey, go on about your business. There's no love lost. I love Miles Sanders to death. But if he's not going to be comfortable being a part of a running back by committee, a 1-2 punch situation at best, if he's not willing to do that, and he wants to get top 5, top 10 running back money, he out of his rabbit mind. He out of his mind. You know what I'm saying? I love Miles Sanders. And if he goes somewhere else, I'm like, damn, that's crazy. But we can't act like it ain't the offensive line. The offensive line been doing most of that work. We can't pretend. You think he averaging 5 yards a carry because of just him alone? The offensive line are giving him at least 3 yards grace, and then he throwing his extra 3 or 4 yards on the back end. Let's keep it real. Like Miles Sanders, like he has the luxury of having the best offensive line in football. We can't just throw that by the wayside and think that, oh, he's the reason why he's averaging. No, that offensive line is legit. So honestly, Miles Sanders is going to get used the way the Eagles want to use him. And if he's willing to accept compensation for that job and be a part of a winning situation that prolongs his career, maybe gives him a longer leash in terms of health, then he needs to be okay with that. But if he wants bigger money on the open market, we'll see what happens. You know, I'm never in the way of another man getting his money. Get your money, brother. But I'm pretty sure Howie Roseman already knows what he's willing to pay the running back position, regardless of what Miles Sanders does. If he does too well, hey, Miles Sanders going free agency and write your own ticket. If he does exactly how we expect, okay, how we going to make the contract offer? And if he feel like he worth more, all right, hit the market. But if he doesn't do as well as we would like him to do, hey, he better take that contract and have a seat. Ivan Mims, my brother, what's going on? Yang Gang says I'd pay Sanders in the 10 to 15 best running back range. Man, It all depends, man. I'm not really. I got to look into what running backs are getting paid right now. Yang Gang says I won't miss Miles Sanders. BG says that's why at least if he outplays the small contract, we still get a good year out of him. At the end of the day, we're gonna get a good year out of him regardless. What if you're on that field, do your job. That's how I look at it. If you're on the field, do your job. He's first of all, let's not pretend he's not the number one running back. He's going to get more touches than any of those other guys. He's going to get more touches than any and everybody. That is a fact. And if he doesn't maximize those touches, then we got an issue. Think about it. Like I said, Shane Steichen is going to be the primary play caller this year in 2022. Shane Steichen is not opposed to having a balanced offensive attack. Shane Steichen wants to run the ball. He wants to get play action going. He wants to throw the ball as well. Shane Steichen wants a balanced offensive attack. And Miles Sanders will be the primary ball carrier from the running back position. If he's not maximizing his 15 minimum touches a game, then we got an issue. Yang Yang says almost anyone in the chat could run behind his O-line. Bro. Ivan Mim says, I'm cool with Sanders, but I think Gainwell would take his spot. We're going to see what happens. Gainwell was very interesting. I like Gainwell a lot, but I'm not sure what his ceiling is. I'm not sure if he can stand the punishment of a 17-game season being the main running back. I'm not sure, but I would love to see Kenny Gainwell push Miles Sanders to be better. You see, Kenny Gainwell has something in his game that Miles Sanders is losing, and that's being able to be a threat in the passing game. And this Eagles offense is set up for running backs to be threats, not just in the running game, but in the passing game as well. You see, this team isn't just going to rely on the running backs to run. That's the thing. Miles Sanders has to make himself a threat in the passing game as well. And if he doesn't, then we have an issue. You get paid based on production. If you and another thing going against Miles Sanders is his health. 2 years in a row, your season been cutting short, 12 games. Stop it. Miles Sanders. Know who you are, know your situation. Again, I'm not opposed to brothers getting their money. If he think he can get a better payday elsewhere, bro, go get your coin, my brother. I'm with you. Respect. Take care of your people, take care of your family. I'm with that. But like I said, I believe Howie Roseman already knows what he's willing to pay Miles Sanders. He know that man contract coming up. Trust me, he know. He knows. Make sure you guys smash that like button. But for you, some of you guys just coming in, Shane Steichen being the primary play caller. How do you feel about that? Do you love it or do you hate it? Shane Steichen, do you love it or do you hate it? Remind you, he became the primary play caller midway through last season. And that's kind of how our offense took a turn for the better. Started leaning on our strength, started leaning on that offensive line. You guys tell me, Shane Steichen, y'all with it or not? Because honestly, I am. I'm with you. I like it a lot, actually. But let's transition to another topic. You know, some people put a lot of stock in the team versus team scrimmages. Some people put a lot of stock in the 7-on-7 drills. Some people put a lot of stock into the preseason. You know, everyone holds different forms to show play on different levels. Everyone values different aspects of the offseason and preseason differently. Like I said, some people put more stock in the preseason matchups because you get live play action. I mean, live game action, right? But I want to ask you guys, how much stock should we put into the Eagles 7-on-7 drills? How much should we really value that? Because over the weekend and from Friday, OTAs, the media had their first day in. They say Jalen Hurts looks sharp. They say him and Devonta Smith's chemistry looks great. They say him and A.J. Brown look good as well. Overthrew A.J. Brown one time. But they say for the most part, Jalen Hurts looks sharp. And you know how they love to always keep track of his completions and, all that kind of stuff and touchdowns throughout the, team versus team training camps and scrimmages. They love to keep track of that stuff like it matters. But how much stock do we put into 707 drills? How much stock do you put into 707 drills? Me personally, not too much. Why? Because of the simple fact that that's a controlled environment. There's no pressure. Who are you running from? What, like, you know what I mean? Like, how can I properly judge somebody in 707 drills? Now, look, I understand that's all we have right now, and I get it. It's fun to watch. It's fun to talk about. It gives us something positive to look forward to, during the season. But I think we need to curb our expectations, or at least take a step back when it comes to the 707 drills. There's no D-line play being involved. He doesn't have to run for his life. He's able to just drop back, throw in shorts, no pad, no shoulder pads. Like, it's, you know what I mean? It's nothing. It's nothing to really put all you. It's nothing to really sink your teeth into. You dig what I'm saying? I need to know how y'all feel about it, because, again, it's fun to talk about. It's fun to see all of those things, right? But what does that really tell us about the team? What does that really tell us about Jalen Hurts' development? What I want to see, I want to see Jalen Hurts being put into some preseason games. I'm one of the people that want to see Jalen Hurts in the preseason game. Now, look, I don't want to see him out there for a whole half. I don't need to see that. Give me a drive. Give me a quarter. Give me something. And, when we get there, we don't know. Maybe they will put him in for a drive, or put him in for a quarter. You never know, right? But I know last season, he didn't play not near preseason snap, I don't think. And that was a problem for me. That is a problem for me. For the simple fact that what better arena to showcase your improvements? What better arena to showcase how good you've gotten? Real game speed, guys flying at you. You get what I'm saying? Think about it from this perspective. You got guys in preseason that's fighting for their livelihood. What more motivation for guys to try to take your head off? What more dangerous? What situation is more high stakes than that, other than the Super Bowl? You dig what I'm saying? A lot of people like to crap on the preseason. Not me. You want to know why? Because those top 10 guys in your roster, they're not worrying about, matter of fact, the top 22 guys in your roster, they're not worrying about their spot. They know they started. But everybody else after those top 22 guys, they fighting for their livelihood. Those guys trying to get sacks. They trying to get tackles for loss. They trying to get interceptions. They trying to show their worth. So what better situation to put Jalen Hurts in than that one? I want to see Jalen Hurts in live game action. That's where I want to see if his throwing motion has improved. Your throwing motion can easily, it's easy to mimic your throwing motion in practice. Ain't nobody coming at you. Ain't nobody coming at you with your throwing. It's easy to stick to your fundamentals in practice when the pressure is at its lowest. But what happens when the pressure is at its most high? What happens when you got 300, 280-pound guys trying to take your head off? Will you stick to your fundamentals then? Will your throwing motion be as improved under duress? That's what I need to know. And look, you guys, I don't want you to take this as a slight on Jalen Hurts. This is not what this is. This is my expectations being high. This is me being demanding of the product we was promised. We are fans of the Philadelphia Eagles, and we need to hold this team accountable every single year. They say Jalen Hurts is taking this game to another level this year. Okay, I can't wait to see it. I want this young man to win. I want him to be franchised. I want him to win. You want to know why? Because that puts our franchise in a better position going forward. We won't have to dedicate assets to the quarterback position going forward. We can focus on building this team. If Jalen Hurts takes the necessary strides, if he shows us in live game tape, live game action, that he can stick to his fundamentals, stick to his throw motion, not resort back to what got him in the NFL in the first place, then we in business. Because Lord knows, if Jalen Hurts figures it out, the NFL better be on on suicide watch. I'm telling you. If Jalen Hurts figures it out, the NFC East, the league, better be on suicide watch because he coming for lives. He coming. You can't put too much stock into 7-on-7s. Ain't nobody coming at you, man. What can you do? Like, come on, man. That's pitch and catch. That's like pro days, right? In the for the combines and all that. You know, for these college players, pro days, the sun is out. It's a perfect day. Everybody know exactly what's coming. Like, how much stock can you put into it? Ivan Mims says they say Hurts has improved his throwing motion. BG is showing a burst like he's fully healthy. That's what I want to hear. Yeah, exactly. I'm with you on that, man. I like to hear things like BG looks good, he looks healthy. He look, they say BG looked like a Greek god at practice. They say he is in shape like no other. JC Sports Talk says, "Sup Tone, I put zero stock on 7-7 training camp or joint practices. I put stock in the season when the games really matter. We saw how good Rager looked last summer and end up catfishing us all." Yo, this is such a great point. This is such a great point because we saw Jalen Rager having all these one-handed catches in these scrimmages. Soon as the game started, where did it go? Soon as the lights got bright, where did all that go? You dig what I'm saying? Where did it all go? You know, even last year, you know, you had guys like Elliott Shore-Parks, and this is no disrespect to him. He's just doing his job. But you had guys like Elliott Shore-Parks, you know, releasing like, oh, Hurts was 20 for 25 in practice, or he was 15 for 18 in practice. He looked sharp. Okay, that's fun to talk about, but did that sharpness really translate to the regular season? Not fully. He had ups, he had downs, he had moments where he was mid-tier, mediocre, and that's just a reality. This is not to disrespect anybody. I got a lot of respect for our media guys in Philly. I got a lot of respect for our players, Jalen Hurts especially. But we have to understand that we have to understand the assignment just as he does, and I know he does. And he's going to go out and give you his all. See, it's never a question of work ethic with Jalen Hurts. Never. It's never a question of work ethic. It's a question of, can he get it done? I believe he can, but he has to show us, right? And you can't judge somebody when they got shorts on and T-shirts throwing the football. Do you stick to your fundamentals when guys trying to take your head off? Let that man go into preseason and throw for a quarter. And guess what? This is what you do. This is what you do when you go into that preseason. You say, Jalen, look, I don't want you taking off and running at all. You tell him you are to live in that pocket. I'm not saying you can't leave the pocket and throw on the run. I'm not saying that. But your job is to pitch and catch. Run the play, drop back 5-step, 3-step, whatever it is. Drop back, deliver the ball. If the guy's open, throw the pill. If he's not, throw it away. We're not looking at stat pad. We're not looking for huge plays. I want to see you make the necessary throws. Don't worry about interceptions. They're irrelevant. This is the time in preseason for him to get the kinks out of his armor. This is the time in preseason for him to knock the rust off. Get live game action. Like I said, throw him out there and say, look, we're going to have you out here for a full quarter. Most likely, you're probably going to get maybe 2 or 3 jobs out of this quarter, maybe 3 at the most. I want you dropping back in that pocket. I want you delivering the pill. If the guy's there, if you trust what you see, let it rip. If you don't trust what you see, throw it away. Throw it away, or hit your check down. Let the chips fall where they may, because what you're doing is you're actually finding out if he actually can read what he's seeing. You're finding out if he can actually read what he's seeing in preseason. While guys are trying to sack him and tackle him and take him out. Tell him to drop back, deliver the pill if you trust what he sees. If you don't, hit your check down or throw the ball away. Live to fight another day. It's only preseason. You ain't gotta make the game breaking play. I want to see have you improved as a passer, your accuracy, your anticipation, throwing guys open, analyzing the defense. That's what we need to see from you. Don't worry about making the splash play. Read the defense, make the read. If your read isn't there, hit your check down. If your check down isn't there, throw it away. End the story. Ivan Mims says, I think all starters should play at least one quarter first 3 games. Hey, at least one drive, right? I think I don't want my veteran lineman playing though. I don't want like BG playing in the preseason or Fletcher Cox, right? Or Javon. I don't need those guys playing. I don't want, Jason Kelsey playing in the preseason. I don't want Lane Johnson or Mailata playing in the preseason, or even I don't want them playing in the maybe Landon Dickerson, but I don't want my big fellows playing in the preseason. I just don't want that. But I get what you mean, Ivan. Eagles realist says facts. None of that matters if you can throw with if you can throw a Myles Garrett running at you. That's what I'm saying. It doesn't matter. What happens when these guys is really trying to take your head off? Ivan Mims says starters should play one quarter first 2 preseason games. Hey, I'm not opposed to it. Just make sure you monitor the snap count. Jorge Mendoza says, I take stock in joint practices for scouting. I believe we saw Ajayi in those joint practices and ended up trading for him. Yeah, but we already knew what Jay Ajayi was, though. We knew Jay Ajayi was a pretty good running back from his days in Miami. So I don't think seeing him in those joint practices really changed that. I personally don't think that. I think he was who he was, period. Joint practices are good for, maybe situational football, you know what I mean? Red zone and, just seeing how your guys stack up against quality guys because, you're going to, guys want to compete. Guys want to show off, right? But again, that's a controlled environment. How much stock can you put into it? Hey, listen, Rock. I'm just trying to share my point of view, man. That's all. I'm just trying to give you my perspective. JC Sports Talk says the splash plays will come in time. I agree. We just need to see him improve on his accuracy, trajectory, and timing. Absolutely. Absolutely. And JC, we got to link up too, man. You my guy. We got to link up. Man. I'm gonna hit you up soon so we can set something up. But we definitely got to link up, okay? Definitely got to link up. Eagles Realist says Ajayi was trending in Miami with his multiple 200-yard games. See, that's what I'm saying. Like, I didn't need to see Jay Ajayi in those team scrimmages to know what he was. I knew exactly who he was prior to that. But, again, before we move on to the next topic, how much stock should we put into the Eagles 7-on-7 practices? If you ask me, not that much. Not that much at all. Now, like I said, if Hurts can get it right this season, if Hurts can figure it out, my God, it's going to get spooky for the rest of the league. And here's the thing about Jalen Hurts. Jalen Hurts doesn't need to be elite. At least not yet. He doesn't need to be elite. Jalen Hurts just needs to be able to make the throws he needs to make. He needs to be reliable. That's what we need from him. We don't, because the team is so talented, we don't need Jalen Hurts to be elite right now. Because at the end of the day, he's only a third-year quarterback, a second-year full-time starter, right? So we don't necessarily need him to be elite. We need him to be reliable. If we can rely on Hurts, now we're having a different conversation. Now we get to talk, okay, can we invest some long-term money in this guy? Because if I'm being honest, depending on how this season goes, don't be surprised if Howie Roseman offers Jalen Hurts a 3-year, maybe 4-year deal. Don't be surprised if he offers Jalen Hurts a 3-year deal worth $25 million a year. You dig what I'm saying? Don't be surprised if he offers him the same contract as A.J. Brown. $100 million 4 years, $25 million a year. And again, it's all about how good Jalen Hurts will be. It's all about it's all about it's all about Jalen Hurts' upside and how well he impacts the game. JC says, question: if Hurts figures it out, would you talk contract extension next offseason or let him play his fourth year? That's a very good question. That's a very good question. Because I was talking about his contract just now, but when you bring up talking the extension next year and letting him play his fourth year, it's interesting. Knowing Howie Roseman, he's going to want to talk extension next offseason because everyone wants that security, especially with Jalen Hurts' play style. Howie Roseman's going to want to get ahead of the curve. If I'm Howie Roseman, and if Jalen Hurts proves that he can be reliable, can win the division, win me a playoff game, if he can do that, if he can show he's made those strides, which I believe he can do, by the way, I wouldn't be surprised if Howie Roseman offered him a 4-year deal worth $100 million with $50 million guaranteed, or even $60 million guaranteed. I wouldn't be surprised if Howie Roseman says, "Look, $100 million, $25 million a year, $60 million guaranteed." Why not? Why not? You got him at $25 million a year. You're giving him $60 million. You basically giving him $60 million up front, and then the rest of the $40 million you space out on your books. That's basically at $10 million a year. You feel me? Is that it? Y'all tell me what kind of you know what, JC, you opened up a very good can of worms. What contract would you give Jalen Hurts? If Jalen Hurts, now I want you guys to operate under your own pretenses. If Jalen Hurts does exactly what you think he's going to do, what contract would you give him? What type of extension would you give him? I need to know. We got 15 people in the live chat. Smash that like button. I need you guys to comment below in the live chat right now. If Jalen Hurts does everything you expect him to do, what type of contract would you give him? I need to know right now. Cal Bundy says, if Jalen turns out to be Dak with heart, I'll be cool with it. That's funny. Ivan Mims says, I bet anything Hurts will take that leap. And you're right. The Eagles scary. If Gannon can run this defense the way it looks on paper, and that's facts. That's a very good point. It's a very good point. It comes down to more than just Jalen Hurts, but as far as Jalen Hurts goes, what contract would you guys give him? I already gave y'all mine. If Jalen Hurts shows me that he can be reliable, because like I said, I don't think he's going to be elite this year. I don't think he's going to be elite, but I think he can creep up into top 15, top 13 status if he plays his cards right. If I'm Howie Roseman, and if Jalen Hurts does what I think he can do, I'm getting ahead of the curve. I'm saying, hey, look, Jalen Hurts, you finished your third season, you're entering the final year of your contract. I'm willing to give you a 4-year deal, $100 million, $60 million guaranteed. The rest of the $40 million, that's the cap hit. $10 million, that's light. $25 million a year, that's light on average. That's light. Rock the Artist says, I would give him the AJ Brown deal, 3 to 4 years. Okay. JC Sports Talk says 4 years, $110 million with $40 million guaranteed. That's not bad. I like that. That's not bad. What's that? What's that at? That's about what? That's about $27 million a year, right? $26.5 million a year. Yeah, 27.5. I was right. That's about $27.5 million a year. Okay. With $40 million guarantee. I like that. That's not a bad deal at all. That's not a bad deal. Not a bad deal at all. If you ask me. Because look, right? I'm about to give you guys average salaries for a bunch of quarterbacks, right? Starting with the top, which is Aaron Rodgers. Aaron Rodgers has an average salary of $50.2 million a year. Deshaun Watson has an average salary of $46 million a year. Patrick Mahomes, $45 million. Josh Allen, $43 million. Derek Carr, $40 million. Dak Prescott, $40 million. Matthew Stafford, $40 million. Kirk Cousins, $35 million. Russell Wilson, $35 million. Jared Goff, $33 million. Carson Wentz, $32 million. Matt Ryan, $30 million. Ryan Tannehill, $29.5 million. Jimmy Garoppolo, $27.5 million. Tom Brady, $15 million. Jameis Winston, $14 million. All right, let's stay there for a second. So if you can secure Jalen Hurts with a Jimmy Garoppolo, Ryan Tannehill type of contract between $25 to $30 million a year, preferably $27.5 million, like JC said, that's a sweet spot. That's the sweet spot. Cal Bundy says if Hurts makes that Russell Wilson leap, $100 million. That's still, you know what? And that's still light. That's still light compared to where the league is. Remember when Russell Wilson got that contract? It was real. It said 3 to 4 year deal if he throws 30 plus TDs, 15 or less interceptions, not including running stats, because we know what we're gonna get from him in that. Okay, but what's the money though? What's the money? I need to know the dollars. JC Sports Talk says, but nowadays that is a steal for a good QB. But again, remember, do we really expect Jalen Hurts to be elite this year? And we got about 4 minutes left in the show, you guys. But do we really expect Jalen Hurts to be elite this year? Based off where he is in his career. I'm not saying it's impossible, but being realistic about our expectations, do we really expect him to be elite? I don't. I expect Jalen Hurts to be reliable. I think that's the bare minimum you can ask for. And anything on top of that is a plus. Like I said, I'm willing to give him, if he does everything I think he can do this season, I'm paying him immediately because I want to get ahead of it. I don't want that stock to go up in his 4th year of his contract. If he can win a division, win you a playoff game or whatever it may be, I'm throwing that man, listen, Hurts, I got 4 years, $100 million for you right now, $60 million guaranteed. What's up? What's up? Listen, your play style, you can get hurt at any moment. You could take care of your family for the rest of their lives with this contract. What's up? Ryan Rose says 4 years, $100 million. Okay. Ivan Mim says with the cap increases, 5 years, $120 million, 60 guaranteed. Okay, so basically what you're saying is, okay, $120 million over 5 years. What's that? That's at $24 million a year. That's actually less than what I was trying to give him. That's less than what I was trying to give him. But that's a good deal, Ivan. I ain't gonna lie. That's still a good deal. Eagles Realist says 4 years, $100 million sounds good. Yeah. Eagles Realist says reliable this year. Take this up to be elite in 2023. Exactly. What you do, because look, at the end of the day, right? Quarterbacks are playing much longer in this NFL, right? If they stay healthy, if they take care of their bodies. So if you give Jalen Hurts a 4-year, and remind you, how old is Jalen Hurts right now? How old is Jalen Hurts? Somebody give me Jalen Hurts' age. What is he, 24? 23? How old is Jalen Hurts? Somebody give me Jalen Hurts' age. I need that real quick. Can somebody give me Jalen Hurts' age? Make sure you guys smash that like button in the live chat. 23. Okay. Thank you. Thanks, JC. Thanks, Eagles Realist. Jalen Hurts is 23 years old. 23. Hear me out. If you tell him, look, Jalen, you're 23 years old. You had a very good year. You won the division. You won a playoff game. You took strides in your development and your progressions. You took strides as a quarterback, right? Right now, at this present moment, we're willing to give you a 4-year extension worth $100 million with $60 million guaranteed. And then you could re-up at age 27. Give you that big money when the salary cap is at its highest. Remember, the salary cap is going up, right? And if Jalen Hurts is smart, he understands that in order for him to really take his game to another level, he needs the necessary pieces around him. You see, Jalen Hurts ain't no fool. He needs the necessary pieces around him for him to be successful. So if he's smart, he'll take that 4-year extension, $100 million deal with $60 million guaranteed, Pocket that 60 million, earn the rest of the 40, and then re-up at age 27. Remember, quarterbacks are playing until they 38, 39 these days if they can stay healthy. If Jalen Hurts can become a pocket quarterback and then run when he needs to, if he can develop, and at age 27 you re-up, you get that big deal. You get to that third contract. That's where we really take care of you. But that's my mindset, though. But I want you guys to sit on that. We've been live for an hour. I got a dentist appointment. I got to get out of here, you guys. I appreciate y'all so much for being here. This has been a spectacular live stream. You guys have been really engaged. You guys have commented. You guys have challenged my thought. You guys have added to the conversation. You guys are truly, truly a part of the show. So don't forget that, okay? I really appreciate all the love and the support you guys give me. Make sure you guys smash that like button. Make sure you guys share the content. If you guys are new to the content, make sure you guys subscribe. Remember, I'm giving you guys episodes of Chalk It Up Sports Daily, Monday through Friday at 1 p.m. Eastern Time. Remember, we had to do the show a little early. And if you're just catching the show, don't be afraid to double back and watch it again. We got a lot of things that we talked about, you guys. I'm your humble host, Tone DeShields II from Chalk It Up Sports, where no matter if we win or if we lose, we just got charged to the game. One love, stay humble, stay healthy, and most importantly, stay hungry.